Hello, my dear shining beings. It is I, Sylvia, coming to you from beautiful Eastbourne by the sea in the United Kingdom. England is where I'm at. I'm really delighted to be here with you today. I always am. I love talking about all things energy and having a good time with various things. And today I've brought with me my fish tank, but I'll talk of that a little bit later. So, yeah, it's going to be something to do with my fish tank of immortal fish. Although it's not a fish tank, it's a portal. That must be known. Must be known. Ooh. A magic point on the tip of my nose is seeking attention. Good morning, Pierre. Hello, my darling. How lovely that you are with me here this morning. And don't worry, we don't need to talk about scuba diving. We can talk about something else in the context of Star Matrix. Good morning, Lorna. Look at that. Two of my summit presenters are the first to join me here this morning. Good morning, Lorna. Yes. And outside, insanity rages, as it has been doing for some time now. It's really quite something this year. It's turning out to be quite something this year. A lot of people are saying, oh, 2020 was horrendous. And yes, on many levels it was. But, well, I guess we've all been asking for change to come in some shape or form. It was all getting rather boring. But that's the Chinese proverb, isn't it? May you live in interesting times. And I think we may agree on the fact that we are indeed living in interesting times. Okay, yeah, so later on I got to do the Star Matrix Summit announcement. And in the meantime, I just thought I'll show you my fish tank. No, it's not a fish tank. My thing. Let me point at my thing. Can you see as my hand sort of goes far away, it's actually quite big. It's a big thing and it's heavy and it's got happy fish in it. And what happened there was that I wanted something. Good morning, Paul. So what happened there was that I have this window over the sink in my little galley kitchen. And it's got this rippled glass effect in it because opposite is literally just a brick wall, a red brick wall, which isn't particularly fun to look at. And it's not my wall, so I can't do anything with it. I can't paint it or anything. It belongs to the neighbors. I think they would probably take a dim view if they woke up one morning and had a giant symbol painting on their house. So, good morning, Marianne. So, yeah, I normally put loads of pot plants in front of that window, although it's not the best for light, and I feel a bit sorry for them. And for some time now, I've been thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I had a fish tank? Roberta Ann, good morning, my dear. Just looking, when I'm washing the dishes, I don't have a dishwasher. I gave him the day off some years ago, and he's never returned, so I've never had a dishwasher since. So yeah, I wash my dishes by hand and my clothes because I don't have a washing machine. But that's a different story. So when I'm washing up, I've often thought to myself, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a fish tank? But I don't really want a fish tank because I used to have a fish tank and it takes a lot of upkeep and it takes a lot of looking after and cleaning, and also sometimes the fish die. And that's just too traumatic. I just can't take it. I really can't. I mean, that was just awful. I had absolutely no idea. One day we had a lovely, huge fish tank, cold water species, great thing going on. Had sort of made entities out of the fish in the fish tank, including the sucker fish, and turned up one day and they're all dead. And I have to this day have no idea what happened. And to this day, I'm still like, I have literally no idea why that happened, because it was stable. We had it for a couple of years, cleaned it out regularly. I don't know. But all the fish died, and that was super traumatic for the entire family. And I swore I would never have a fish tank again, and so I haven't. So for the last year or so, I've been thinking about a fish tank, and actually got as far as looking up some fish on eBay and going to the local Pets R Us. But then one day I had the brilliant idea of, okay, we'll make a fish tank work of art instead that can broadcast that fish tank energy that I'm clearly seeking here for whatever reason that is. And that'll do the trick just perfectly. And I don't have to clean it, and don't worry about filtration. And in fact, they'll be immortal fish. They will never die. Yay! All rolled up in one handy work of art. And so, yes, then the this whole thing came together. The shape of that is actually Martin doing wood turning and cutting out a circular blank in order to turn it into a bowl. And this results in these portholes being left over. And I was fascinated by them, and I thought, what should I do with them? So we had a beautiful conjunction of making my happy fish with the outside of Martin's thing, the portholes. And I must say, absolutely must say, this is not a fish tank. Now, you have all read, I hope, Revolution, my free ebook. If you haven't, please search for it and download it and read it, because it's really cool. If you have already read it, by all means, read it afresh as a new, wiser, more experienced aspect. I promise you, you will find something of interest within that you have missed before. This always happens. But anyway, yeah, in the Revolution, I talk about the fish tank of insanity, where humanity is trapped beneath that, between 0 and -9, and they're circling around in this fish tank of insanity. So we don't, and I actually have this page there. We must free the fish. So clearly, I can't be having a fish tank here. So what we're actually looking at in my fabulous work of art behind me, lit with a little torch, is a porthole where we can see the immortal fish swimming by in the oceans of energy. So that's what that is. And I'm smiling as I'm saying this. It's going to give me a lot of joy. As you guys know, I love art, and I love what that brings to the game. And I also love the ability to create objects, energy objects that have an effect on the energy in the room and have an effect on your own energy body. And when the effect is so much that you actually can't help but smile when you look at it, then I consider that to be a real win. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Also, something I've noticed is that when I first make something, I tend to think it's a bit crap. I can see all the faults with it, everything that's wrong with it, and all the complaints about it. I should have made my own fish, should have sanded the porthole more. I can see everything that's wrong with it. But what happens, and I've learned this because I'm old, and being old has advantages. And one of the advantages is when you're old, this is not your first rodeo. You've been around the block a few times before. And what I have learned in this is that at the time I make them, I think my works of art are crap and substandard. But as time goes by, I start to appreciate them more and more for what they are, rather than for criticizing them for all their faults and where I didn't work hard enough, or I did do something wrong, or something didn't go quite right. And so the older they get, the more, I don't know, more lovely they become. And I know this is going to be happening with my fish tank too. Today, I think, oh man, that's just crap. It's just a bit of cut off wood, a bit of badly cast old resin, and a few fish from the internet. And, I was just crap. But I know that as time goes by, I'm going to appreciate the actual intention, which was to make the aspects who are washing the dishes happy. That was the intention. And as time goes by, this is going to be more and more powerful, more and more profound. And this actually just made me think of, um, do you know when sort of really old people, they have kept a drawing from a child, and when they die and you go and sort out their stuff, you'll find like their marriage certificate and sort of really important documents. And in these important documents, there is this drawing from a small child, one of their kids or grandkids, and it's just, it's in with these important documents. And I find that really fascinating. I find that really fascinating. That with some things, the more time goes by, the more precious they become. Other things, they just blow away like leaves on a breeze. But certain things, and the things that remain are the things that have the most heart in them, that have the most love in them, and not necessarily their financial value, but their soul value. And I had no idea I was going to say that today, or that we were going to get to that today. But yeah, one of the big problems with modern society, and it really is, that things are all judged on this material value. We judge each other on our material value, on our richness, not on our soul value. And I think it might be nice if we brought that back more into conscious awareness, that the things that really matter, at the end, they are kept with the most valuable and precious of documents, and the family diamond engagement ring heirloom that could be like a drawing of a child. Ah, ah. So yeah, my immortal soulfish are swimming in the oceans of energy outside this porthole. And so the porthole is where I look out from my daily grind, if you will, from from just washing dishes and doing all these mundane things. But I can still look out and see the soulfish swimming by in the oceans of energy. Good morning, Ilka. Hello. Lovely for you to join us here. Yeah, guys, um, and I do encourage this. Make some soul things for yourself, things that make your soul smile. I hope to inspire more people when it comes to interior decoration. And rather than going down to a store and buying some expensive thing, to actually make something that would make you smile, would make a future aspect smile, that they would like that, and it would make them happy. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It really doesn't have to be some amazing, you know, work of art. It doesn't. Write yourself post-it notes. Something, I don't know. I don't know. Don't know what I'm saying here this morning. Don't know what I'm saying here this morning. But my fish are there. I can see them on the screen, and yeah, I'm happy with my fish. Very happy. So it's a sort of childlike thing again going on there. A lot of times in my art, I deliberately step away from this whole fine art thing of having to be so accomplished and having to be like the Chinese master who spent 80 years perfecting his brush strokes to draw the perfect 3 lines of a mountain and a flower. And for me, I need to step away from that. I need to make something that just has that childlike, innocent joy, without all the struggle, without all the hard work, without all the you need to do this and you need to do that first, and before you can do that, you have to do that. Just a pure expression of joy. And I really feel if we had more of that around in the world, I think people would be a lot happier. They'd be a lot happier. Ah, Wendy. Wendy just said something. I have a house full of soul stuff. Looks like rubbish. and it's very random, but everything has a story. Yes, of course. See, if it didn't have a story, it wouldn't be in your house. You know, if it didn't have a story, it wouldn't be in your house. We surround ourselves with things that are precious to us, and we do. And that reminds me of when I was a very youngling doing hypnosis and various other things many years ago. Somebody asked me if I could come and help with an older gentleman who had stuffed his entire house full of papers. And when I mean papers, I mean newspapers. To the point that people couldn't get in anymore. They couldn't get in and out anymore. The house was just full up to the ceiling with these newspapers. And they were all unread newspapers. They had never been read. They were unread newspapers piled to the ceiling. And they tried various therapies with him and drugs and stuff, and it hadn't worked. He was still buying papers and stacking them up. Oh, I'm getting emotional. So my young aspect, free from the restrictions of psychology education, and the older I'm getting, the more I thank the stars that I have been free from that. And so I could look and see what one could probably do for a person. And the aspect squeezed into the house, and these enormous mountains of newspapers everywhere. And, fought her way to the man's bedroom where there was just a bed, and the bed was also surrounded by these walls of newspapers, and started to talk to the man. And the man told within moments the story of this, that he'd lived with, soften and flow. He'd lived with his mum, who loved to read the daily papers. And he'd go out in the morning and he'd buy her the daily papers. And she was an intellectual, so she wanted from the right, from the left, from the middle, she wanted all the different papers. A bit like the Queen. That's interesting, that. Yeah, like the Queen, she does that apparently. And he'd go out and buy this big stack of papers and put it next to her chair with a cup of tea. Wow, I do apologize here for... No, I won't, sod it. I'm not going to apologize for getting emotional. And then she died. And he continued to do that. But what he couldn't do was to throw the papers away. And to me, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't know about you, but I understand that. I understand that totally, why he didn't want to throw the papers away. Yeah. So I don't know why I'm telling you this. Perhaps one day you're walking into somebody's house and you see what you consider to be just a pile of insane rubbish. And you say, oh, let's throw that out. Let's just throw it all away. But please know that for people, everything they have is precious, and it has a reason for being there. And just like I'm not a fan in NLP of taking an area and ripping it out of its context and then stuffing it in somewhere else, I'm not a fan of these brutal ways of decluttering and decluttering. Fuck off, really. I'm not a fan of these brutal ways of trying to sort out people, just coming into this man's house. And I tell you what would have happened if they'd done what they wanted to do, which was coming into this man's house and just taking all the newspapers away and throwing them in the skip. He would have died of a broken heart within a week. Give it a month. He just wouldn't have made it. That needed a different approach. That needed a different way to deal with that. And there are so many things in our lives, likewise, so many other places where Again, the soul is missing in the investigations, in the questions, in the approaches to try and solve problems, This was in the day before tapping. And what I did was I had the man create a sanctuary and visit his mother in sanctuary and talk to his mother in sanctuary. And she told him to buy a newspaper every day. But the important thing was to also read it. And if he read one newspaper a day, then she would always be there and smiling at him. That was what she told him in the sanctuary. And we could then get rid of the newspaper and start a new collection of papers that he had read. And the guy was fairly old, so, it could never get to that point where his whole house was full of newspapers again. So that was really a nice thing, And also the fact that he actually started to read the newspapers and take a bit more of an interest in the world. And yeah, it was a good result. It was a good result. Sanctuary is a wonderful thing. Big fan of it. Big fan of it. Okay, so now after this emotional thing, and again, I'm not even going to apologize for it. That was very, very moving. It was moving. And when something is moving, your energy system should move. When you are happy, you should laugh and, squeal if necessary. I saw a video the other day where some guy said, I never knew of this thing called frolicking. I've never frolicked before. Watch me frolic. We should be, thumping our fist when we're angry, and we should cry when something is sad. Not crying when something is sad is just weird, frankly. It's weird. And people shouldn't be so afraid of other people crying as well. People shouldn't be so afraid and go into panic mode when somebody starts to cry. It's not the end of the world. It's just an energy movement that's happening that is so profound. It actually creates a pressure translating into these physical tears. It's a wonderful thing if we really think about it. Ilka just said something lovely. And now how it feels. My grandma used to save her whole life in letters, papers, postcards, and handwritten recipes. Yeah, there's sort of it's sort of a movement towards a book of stars, isn't it? It is a movement towards a book of stars. Scrapbooking and journal keeping, and it's a movement towards a book of stars. A lot of people used to do it. See, nowadays, and this is something I find quite slightly disturbing, and I do. Imagine for a moment, right now, there was a giant solar flare, which destroys all technology. And of course, as our society instantly turns turtle and people start, killing each other over food, it doesn't get rebuilt, and we get into this whole zombie apocalypse disaster nightmare. And then people have lost their lives because people don't print out photos anymore, and they don't write each other letters anymore. They write each other emails and send each other texts, and they store their lives on Facebook. It's just an interesting thought, Facebook could just go bankrupt tomorrow. And then where did all your memories go, Ooh, it's an interesting thing. So yeah, don't know how we got here. Oh, artifacts, making artifacts in the environment, and everything is precious. Yes, remember, guys, that's a basic sort of a thing, but it's also a metaphor. People have things in their lives that are precious to them. Don't trample on them. Don't disrespect them. be aware, be advised that what you see is not what they see. And that goes to their memories and their habits and the company that they keep and all these other things, what they do. If we could regain a level of understanding of the preciousness, we could be a lot more respectful, a lot more helpful to other people, and also probably a lot less negative about our own doings. You know, if we do something like something crazy, like collecting stacks of newspapers, I mean, just stop beating yourself up for it. Be respectful of it. It probably has a good reason. Don't immediately assume that there's something wrong or broken going on with you, or that you need to change, or anything like that. Just be a bit more respectful of the preciousness. Yeah. Huh. I got this three-step thing, which is the Modern Energy Art Manifesto, but it goes much beyond that. It's the first law of the universe is love. The second is evolution, and the third is the preciousness. And that's probably what we were talking about here today, the preciousness. Ah, yeah, Paul, absolutely right. Yes. It might not be important to us, but it is important to them. Yes. And I like the word precious. I know it's been made fun of in Lord of the Rings and so on, you know, my precious, and you're not supposed to, and it's a really, really bad thing. But precious in and of itself is a beautiful thing. And it's a reality with people that they hold some things precious. So if you're at a loss for a meditation or something to meditate on, preciousness is a very, very interesting topic indeed. I'm going to have to go off screen, blow my nose after all of this emotion. Good grief. I'm supposed to make a happy live stream. Don't have some sort of emotional roller coaster going on here. Hold your thoughts. Ah, that's better. I'm sorry, I've also never learned how to blow my nose in a lady-like fashion. You know, like some people can do, like, I can't do that. I trumpet like an elephant. I don't know what happened there. Don't know what I missed out in my education. So I apologize for that, but it's just one of those things, you know, one of those things. Okay. Wow, we've been here already for 28 minutes. Guys, so I must make announcements. Announcements must be made, or I will be beaten with sticks when I come away from here. And announcements must be made. Okay. So the other day I asked on the GOE members list if anyone was interested in a short sort of mini course on psychic protection, on energy system protection. And I was surprised how many people responded positively to this with, yay, yes, let's do it. So I have started recording a little. This is literally a mini course. This is not some full-on handouts manual, 1,000 million exercises craziness. It is literally a happy little free mini course for GOE members in sort of the basic principles of easy psychic protection. And the first part we're going to be ready with for Tuesday, that's day after tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and it'll be hosted on the GOE servers. So if you're a member, you can log in and watch that. And we'll do I did 4 short parts of about 15 minutes each on some different topics. And so we're going to be putting them out once a week on a Tuesday, starting day after tomorrow. Don't know what that date is. It's not quite October yet, but it's late in September. That's the best I can do with that one. And the other date for your diary, and this is what I'm very excited about, is we're going to, right, back in the day, we used to have a conference in the first or second week of November in the United Kingdom, because that's great time to be having a conference. Weather's still pretty good, and Christmas madness hasn't started yet. It's just good time to be having a conference. For many years, we used to have a conference. And so this year, as we're clearly couldn't be having a conference, I decided we're going to do a Star Matrix Summit. So that's online. Online Saturday and Sunday. Please put this in your diary, the 7th and the 8th of November. And that's going to be just a number of happy, easy presentations on various specialist topics, what you can do with Star Matrix. So we've booked 3 people, 3 presenters so far. A few others have come forward. And who have we got? Brenda. We've got Brenda Duatre from Canada, who is just amazing, wonderful lady. And Lisa McCormack, who is from Ireland. We're going to do Star Matrix and coaching. And Lorna Firth and I are going to do reconnecting with family. And I can't remember what we're going to do with Brenda, but it was something exciting, something very exciting. There's many brilliant topics. So please look out for the conference presentations and proposals when you see them. This is going to be either very low cost for GOE members or entirely free of charge. If you're not a GOE member, you can purchase day passes to watch the online presentations and ask questions and take part in the excitement and find out more about what Star Matrix is and why it is such a massive turning point in personal evolution. And it really is. It is a massive turning point in the way we work with ourselves, with our clients, in groups, and potentially also how we're going to deal with healing, trauma healing, and many other things beside. So it's a fascinating topic. There'll be lots and lots of interesting things to be learned. The format is me discussing the topic with the other person online, and that'll be a great way to get more into it and understand more about it. Sarabi just said, I have things that are nothing but trash for people. Yeah, but to me, they're precious. Of course they are. Yes, absolutely. Stand up for your precious things and don't let other people trash them for no reason. There's no reason about. If it's precious to you, then it deserves to be loved and it deserves to be protected, and it also deserves to be respected. And the people who can't respect that, well, that's their lack of personal evolution rather than the fault of your objects. So that's kind of a nice way of thinking about it. And that's Star Matrix thinking. It's a very different way of thinking about stuff. And it has always really been in action with all the GOE things. All the things I've ever written, they've always come from that place. But Star Matrix has given me a way of explaining that place where it all comes from. So that's really good. Okay, yes. Reiterate dates for your diary. Psychic Protection, free to GOE members. If you're not a GOE member, by all means join. It's the massive amount of £30 a year or thereabouts, and lots of benefits, endless amount of free content on the GOE members site, the GOE discussion group, discounts on things. I mean, it's just, and plus being a part of a group of people who are trying to bring more love and joy and light into the world in a non-political, non-religious, non-denominational way. We are all shining beings, and everybody who wants to do something for their heart of energy, for their personal empowerment, is welcomed with open arms by us. You know, we have no creed other than let's make people happier. which isn't that, which isn't amazingly, isn't really that difficult once you decide that that's a good way to go. Okay, guys, allow me to bless you with love and light and the appreciation of the preciousness that is inherent in you, which you don't have to earn, you don't have to deserve it. It comes courtesy of the great creative order. There's no one like you. There will never, ever be anyone even remotely like you. Every one of you has your own book of stars. Every one of you has your own path. And that is not making you any prettier than you are. That is not soaping you up, or that's not telling you that you're better than you are, anything like that. That's the basic principle from where we start. That's ground point zero. You know, every human being is unique. There's no other like it in time or space. And everyone, by definition, is precious. Ah. Thank you very much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for, sharing the journey. Thank you so much for all you do to bring love and light practically, really, honestly, into other people's lives, and also into your own life by being kinder to yourself, kinder to your aspects, and with a dawning appreciation of your own personal preciousness. I'm wishing you a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week. Lots of love, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.